thanks for joining. Appreciate you taking the time out. So first things first, you and I met, a while back, and I remember you said that you got into lifting just to get ready for wrestling, get a little bit stronger for wrestling. What made you go to Olympic style lifting, and what made you go to garage strength for that in the first place?
So I was looking for like a more customized training center, something to fit my needs a little better. And Dane was kind of just getting started. I was kind of hearing his name, through other people. So that's kind of why I chose to start at Garage Strength. I actually never lifted before I started lifting at Garage Strength. Not even like at like my school gym or anything like that. But anyway, I kind of just started out normal, like, back squatting and benching and doing arms and stuff. And then Dane started to venture into Olympic weightlifting a little bit. So he had us, snatching and cleaning. And he actually asked me if I wanted to do a weightlifting meet. This was 2012. 2012, he asked me if I wanted to do a weightlifting meet. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. And I remember I qualified for youth nationals. And then that year I got third at youth nationals. And I was like, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. And at that time I was kind of feuding with my high school wrestling coach. We didn't kind of agree. My dad has coached me ever since I was little in wrestling. My dad was a state champ. So he didn't like my dad stepping in. So I kind of just went the route of weightlifting after that. But Dane, I was one of Dane's first subjects. All his 600 and whatever experiments he's done, I've done probably half of them. So
yeah, being Dane's guinea pig is probably not something that anybody would really treasure. I'm sure you looking back on it now, you're like, I love it. But back then you were like, sure, yeah, a little skeptical of it.
It's also like if I was like these young kids training with us now, just the amount that Dane knows now versus what he did when I started. I always think like, man, I wonder where I would be in this sport if I started when I was 14 now, Yeah. But it's all fun learning and stuff.
Now it was the barn back then still, right? I remember when I was going there, it was the barn. Is that where you started out as well?
I actually started at the garage, the very first place. It was at his parents' garage. It could probably fit 10 people. I only went there for like a week, and then they moved into the garage or the barn, but I was at the barn the majority of the time I started.
Yeah. So, kind of talk about garage strength and how it's grown and how you've really, like you said, you've been there from the start. So talk about that growth with garage strength and how that's actually helped you because you've been there in its infancy.
Yeah. So, honestly, like I've been working for Garage Strength for the last like 4 or 5 years. I actually quit my job. I was working at a gas station called Sheetz. I actually quit my job and got hired by Dane so I could focus on weightlifting full time, like a little better. I could work in the gym, but then I had a better training atmosphere because I had more time to be there. So I've been a part, like hands-on, of the growth for, the last 4 or 5 years. And it's honestly, it helped me become a great athlete because I was surrounded by great athletes, like I'm surrounded by people who are winning national titles, who are going to the Olympics, who, are competing at the world championships and stuff like that. So it's actually, in a way, like it made me better. And our clientele base, not even from an online side of things, from just training at Berks County has grown so much because we started training a lot of like young football players who are going D1 and are becoming 5-star recruits. So we went from being a very little, backyard gym, Dane just trying to pay his bills really, to kind of being, hopefully, in my opinion, I think one day we can be like a world-class facility. So, yeah, it's been awesome though, seeing the growth, just, being active with it for the last couple of years. I know Dane puts his heart and soul into the gym, and I think that's why we got to where we are so far, is because every employee that's there is just like ride or die for it. You know what I mean? Like we're all ready to jump on and do whatever we can to keep the business going, especially in times like this. Switching from on-site training to more of an online atmosphere for the time being. But yeah.
So now training wise for basically every athlete, it's completely turned on its head right now. But for you, it was even more so because you actually had the virus. So when did you kind of find out that you had it, and how was that, how did you feel? What was it like going through all that?
Yeah, so I was through the ringer, man. It felt like the last couple of months. I mean, I qualified for the Pan Am Championships, Senior Pan Am Championships. It was my first senior team I ever made as a weightlifter. At 22 years old, I was super pumped about it. I hit a big total in Peru, and then right when I got back from Peru, the COVID kind of started creeping around in China. I never thought
When
anything
were
of
you
it.
in? When were you in Peru?
Oh God, I don't even. January maybe? No, it was December or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was I don't even remember. But shortly after that, maybe like a month or two after that, the coronavirus started creeping around in China. Never thought anything of it. I went to Wadapalooza because it was a money event. There was like a weightlifting thing. I made it all the way to the final at Wadapalooza, and I sprained my knee, sprained my ankle on a 160 clean and jerk. Dude, it looked like I blew out my freaking whole leg. Like, the video is just gross. And then I had to come back from that to start training for Pan Ams again. And then I get on a good block. I'm snatching 130, clean and jerk, and 160, and then I get sick. So I got sick April 2nd. That was a Thursday. I got sick at the same time that my girlfriend's dad did. We got sick the same day, the Thursday. Friday morning, I went to go get tested for the coronavirus, and so did he. So when I initially got sick Thursday night, I was actually lifting that same day. I snatched 128 actually that day. So I snatched 128 Thursday morning, and then started kind of feeling like crap later. It was kind of just like, it was like heat sweats. Like, my face was getting really hot. I knew I had a fever, and then I checked, and my temperature was like 101.3 Thursday night. I had really bad shivers, and it was almost like, it felt like I had the flu,
Mm-hmm.
My body ached. And then, so I went to bed Thursday, woke up, and, I had to call a local urgent care who's doing coronavirus testing. I had to walk them through, I had to answer like 10 questions for me to be able to get COVID tested. You can't just walk in and get tested. So I got tested Friday morning, and then I actually started feeling okay Saturday. So I was sick Thursday. I was sick all day Friday, and Saturday I started to feel a lot better. My temperature broke. I didn't have a temperature anymore. I was feeling okay. The only thing that was really freaking bugging me was my back. My back hurt so bad. Like, I literally couldn't lay on the hardwood floor. I couldn't lay on a bed. I couldn't sit in a chair. Like, I didn't sleep for like 2 days because of how bad my back hurt. And I couldn't taste anything. I know that's like a weird side effect, but like, my taste
Yeah.
buds were like completely gone. Like, Monday I was fine, and then so I started thinking like, oh, I didn't have the coronavirus. I probably just had like, a 24-hour flu or something, and I just feel like crap. Dane also always says that I'm a crybaby when it comes to being sick. So
yeah, I've seen the Instagram post of you and him, shooting jokes and talking crap
yeah,
back and forth to each other.
arguing. I don't like him winning arguments, so I'll argue all day. But yeah, and then Tuesday I got my test results back, man, and they came back positive. I mean, I was shocked at that time, April 2nd. I mean, you can fact check me later if you want, but I think there was 300,000 people in the U.S. Diagnosed with the coronavirus at that time. I think it's over 1 million now, but when I got my test results back, I think it was 300,000. So I was honestly, it's like I hit the lottery for viral infections, really. I mean, if you think about it from like a percentage standpoint, I mean, what is that, 0.0001% of
Yeah.
the United States population that I was a part of? And then it was kind of just like shock and like terror. I mean, I was scared out of my mind because I
Yeah.
had no idea.
What was the test like?
So they take like, it almost looks like this, right? But it's it's a little straighter, but it is kind of curved. And it has like bristles on the end, like a toothbrush. Like it's not soft, right? It almost looks like a scrub brush. And what they do is they stick it in the back of your nose. It's about 8 inches long, 7 inches long. They stick it all the way to the back till it touches. I don't know what the hell it touches, but it felt like it was in my brain. And then they scrub it around and they leave it sitting there for like 30 seconds. And then they pull it out. And I guess they send the test off to the lab. But the tests are horrible. I mean, they're absolutely horrible. My eyes were watering so bad. And the crazy thing is they tell you not to touch your face when you have the coronavirus. And your eyes are just dripping freaking water and stuff. So all you want to do is rub your eyes. But yeah, the testing process was weird. When I actually drove up to the urgent care after, I talked to this lady and she got me a registered test. What happens was they call you. You have to sit in the parking lot. They call you and they're like, all right, all you have to bring in is your phone and your keys and your wallet. They said someone's going to meet you at the front door. So when I got out of my car, I mean, the parking lot was loaded, right? So I get out of my car, walk to the front door. Security guard lets me in, but he puts a mask on me, makes me wear gloves. Then I get in, I go to this back room, and this lady comes in. She's like all suited up. I mean, looks like she's fighting off the world's craziest virus, which she basically is. But,
Yeah.
Sticks me with this thing, gives me a couple papers, and was like, all right, you'll have your results in 4 to 7 days. That's what they said. I don't know if mine was quick because I tested positive or what, but I got mine back in, 3 or 4 days. But, yeah, I mean, the whole experience was crazy. It was just terror, like no one knew what was going on when I got tested for the virus, a lot less than they did now. No one knows if you can get it again. I didn't know what the side effects were. The only thing I was seeing on the news was people laying in hospital beds with respirators on, looking like they're going to die. You know what I mean? So,
So a
because I
lot of
was
panic,
around,
kind of, right?
yeah, just sheer panic. I mean, I remember I literally thought I was having like an anxiety attack because, I was taking this time of social distancing to spend more time with my dad and stuff like that. Now, he was also quarantining too. So I was being careful of who I was around. I was definitely taking the social distancing seriously and stuff, but I was around people,
Mm-hmm.
so I was worried that my family was going to get it. My brother's a diabetic and I was around him, so he's more of a high risk patient. So I was just super, super nervous at the time. And I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was going to feel worse later. It was almost like pure terror, really. I mean, that's all I can describe it as. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
even that I felt that bad. It was the fact that I had this coronavirus that was almost like a mythical thing at the time because most people don't have it. So they're like, oh, well, if, I don't know anybody that has it, it can't affect me.
Yeah. So now, kind of fast forward as you recover, and now it's time to kind of re-enter the world because for a while you're just exiled. It's just you. You can't really go anywhere. You can't do anything. It's just you. When you first kind of step back into the world, how are you feeling? And were you nervous to kind of be around, your dad and your girlfriend and anybody else at first?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm gonna be honest. I'm still nervous. Like, I've been living with my girlfriend and her parents right now. But like, dude, I was quarantined for 14 days in the room that I'm sitting in now. I couldn't leave other than to go to the bathroom, which is right around the corner. My girlfriend had to bring me my meals. She was wearing gloves and masks. And when the CDC recommends, so I didn't get any negative tests, right? I didn't have to be hospitalized. So I didn't ever go back and get negative test results. So they say that you have to be symptom free for 72 hours and you have to be quarantined for at least 14 days. So I quarantined for 15 days and obviously I was symptom free for 72 hours before I could come out of this room even. But then once I got out of the room, we had to quarantine even longer because Haley's dad, Chris, actually ended up in the hospital because of the COVID. So he went to the hospital, I think, 6 days after I got sick. We both got sick. So when he went to the hospital, we were all around him. So we actually had to do another 6 days. So it was really closer to 3 weeks that we really had to isolate in the house. But dude, even now, like, I haven't seen my dad yet. Because, my uncle works for the government and viruses and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I called them and they're like, look, they're almost positive that you can't get it again, but they just don't know.
Yeah.
They still 100% don't know. And, you know, I talked to a lady on the phone 2 days ago from the National Health Department, and they're like using me and my symptoms and stuff as part of this, study to understand the virus. And she, asked me to donate plasma and stuff like that. But, the whole thing is just no one knows anything. That's
Yeah.
why, I get why people are mad that businesses aren't opening up, and I get why people are afraid of the virus because, just because it didn't affect me that bad. Like, I was living with someone who had the coronavirus for 26 days, and he just actually tested negative twice. So he's COVID free, but he got his last test back yesterday, and that was April 2nd that we got the virus. So he almost had it a whole month. So,
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows you, like, it didn't affect me that bad, but it can affect someone else really bad. So I'm still, worried about doing anything really. I mean, you have to continue on with your life, but it's hard to think of it as normal now because, you don't, it's the factor of the unknown, I don't know anything.
Yeah. So when it came time to get back to training, was it kind of, obviously you're excited to get back to training, but you're, a little bit nervous because they're saying, you're in close proximity with a lot of different people. So what's it like for you to get back to training? Was it just you and Dane in the gym, or you and maybe a couple of people? But what was it like getting back to training?
Yeah. So really it's just me. Maybe every now and then, like, a thrower will be in lifting, like, on the other platforms. But the last 2 weeks, I mean, this today, my workout this morning finished my first 2 weeks back from COVID. Yeah, it's just me and Dane in the gym, really. I know that when I first got done quarantining here, but we didn't go back to the gym, me and Haley were doing workouts in her backyard. But we're doing, body weight squats, 10 reps, and Cossack squats, 6 on each side, where we're supposed to be doing 5 sets, and I'm only doing 3. Like, dude, I can back squat 190 kilos and snatch 130 kilos. I couldn't do 40 back or body weight squats. Like, I was so physically, like, run down from the virus. I think it affected my physical body more than, like, it really did, me getting sick and having all these symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
My hamstrings got super tight, and it took me freaking 3 years to touch my damn toes, and now I'm back to where I was 3 years ago. So and everything just doesn't work right, you know what I mean? Like, your shoulders feel funny when you catch a snatch, and your legs feel like jello after doing 110 kilos squats. But yeah, I mean, right now it's just me really working out in the gym. I mean, we're obviously not open, we can't, but I'm just going in and using the equipment.
Yeah. So what was that first snatch, or the first press? What was that like? Was it just the bar? I mean, did you put any weight on anything, or was it just going through the motions?
So my first day back, my first exercise was 5 sets of 5 back squat. So I did the bar, and then I think I went right to 70 kilos, and I stayed at 90 kilos for 5 sets of 5 reps, and my legs were toast. Like, I actually didn't clean and jerk that day because I felt like my quads, I just never felt a quad pump like that. I mean, I'm more like hamstring dominant, but and then for snatches, I did a lot of the bar work, and then I think I did 40 kilos and 50 kilos for triples, and that was it. That's all I did that first day. Um, yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, like, it just felt weird. Everything feels weird when you take a ton of time off and you have nothing to do, And I think it was still like I was still coming back from the sickness, and it was 14 days out from when, I showed symptoms and stuff like that, but it's still, you're recovering from something that beats up your body and your immune system and stuff. So the first session was definitely the worst one.
Yeah. How was it? How was it coming back mentally? I mean, obviously, being as strong as you want to be, your muscles are going to be fatigued and everything. But if your mind isn't in it, you can drop a weight at any point, even if it's 5 pounds. So how was it everything mentally coming back?
So like 2 days ago was the first day that I was really like myself in training, like mentally. Dude, I'm a hype guy. Like I like screaming and smelling salts and blaring music and just ripping weight. Like that's just who I am. Like, and the first week and a half, I mean, I was cautious to do anything because I was afraid mentally I was going to push myself too hard because I know that symptoms can reoccur. And I never got negative test results back. So I didn't actually know if I was negative for the coronavirus or if I just wasn't showing symptoms. But mentally, I mean, it also sucks mentally because I did all this work. Like I got injured and then at Wadapalooza and I got injured at Wadapalooza and then USAW tells me 2 days later that I have to hit 95% of my best to show my readiness for Pan Am's, and I'm nowhere near that because I was on crutches for 4 days with an ankle brace and a knee brace. I got MRIs done while I was in Miami at like 11 o'clock at night because the doctors thought that I tore my MCL and they thought that I tore my ankle. So, I did all this work. I ended up hitting the numbers on the last day, sending them to Coach Mike. And then, this happens and I'm in here in the gym snatching 50 kilos and it's feeling heavy. And I just feel like all the work that I just did, doesn't matter anymore. And Pan Am's got canceled, which, was rough on me mentally. And then I found out that I had to requalify for Pan Am. So I no longer hold that Pan Am spot. I have to go through the qualifying process again, actually.
That's pretty tough. So going along with, the events that have gotten canceled, you hear about the Olympics. Kind of talk about, what was your first thought when you hear that the Olympics is going to be postponed and the Olympics is going to be canceled?
My first reaction was just like, I felt so bad. Not even for me. Not even for me, but for people like, Kate and I, CJ, Harrison, like basic shoe-ins for the Olympics. I mean, trust me, I've been in this sport for a long time. I know how hard it is, and I know what it's like to dream about going to the Olympics. So, for it not to happen for these people, I felt so bad. But I also kind of felt like it was a second chance for me. I didn't keep my qualifiers up for the Olympics going into 2020 in the second quarter because me and Dane kind of thought like, all right, it's going to be a stretch. Let's just, train hard, go to nationals and stuff like that. See if you can make Pan Am's and let's really take a shot at 2024. But then I started getting really good, clean and jerking over 160 all the time, snatching over 130. I mean, I'm only 10 kilos off this Olympic standard total. So when I found out that it was postponed like a whole year, it actually made me realize like, all right, I can train hard for this 2021 and like give it a shot. Like I need to do all my qualifiers. I need to just push weight hard. And so for me, it was actually kind of a good thing. I almost thought I wasn't going to make 2020. I mean, I was ranked 8th in the country and they take top 4. So I would have had to beat, 3 or 4 more people out for that spot. But now I honestly think, some people are going to get soft now that the Olympics were canceled. I mean, I know it sounds bad, and they're teammates in theory of mine, but I know there's some people ahead of me that I think I can go up and beat now that I have a whole nother year of training.
Mm-hmm. So what does that restructure of training look like? Obviously, you had a plan going into Pan Ams, and you had a plan going into this Olympic cycle, and that changes. Did you restructure that, or are you now back to that old plan?
So it definitely got restructured. I'm all about strength right now. I'm trying to get strong. I'm trying to get back to where I was. Because my O-lifts will always be there. That's one thing that I've never struggled with. I can snatch heavy, anytime, any day, you name it, put it on the bar. Like, it's going to go over my head. Same thing with clean and jerk. Like, I know they're not the prettiest, but I can grind through a clean all day long. I'm just not strong. Like, my best squat is 40 kilos less than Jordan's. But our O-lifting numbers are very similar. So right now, the structure for Pan Ams was get my snatch and clean and jerk to where I wanted, and then, do a lot of volume there, get real comfortable with that, and make sure that I was getting ready for like a good peak. I was recovering right and stuff like that. Now we're really on a heavy squat program. I squat every single day right now. And I'm going to try to get my squat to like 220. And then if I can squat 220, we'll be in a really good spot going into 2021. I truly believe that if I squat 220, I can break the American records in snatch and clean and jerk, which would give me a real good shot at this Olympic total. But that's the goal right now. I mean, we had to completely switch. I mean, we went from a technical-based program leading up into Pan Ams to just get me, moving right for big weight, to just a hardcore squat program and trying to get my legs and back stronger.
Yeah. So what are there new goals? I know you said you're just like right now the goal is just to be strong as possible, but are there new goals for the future? Is it, you said 2021 is now a possibility, but does that kind of push things for 2024? How does everything being restructured change your training regimen, change your life, change your goals?
Yeah. So my main goal right now is to make Pan Ams again. I want to make sure like I have that spot. When USAW was making me hit 95% of my best 4 days after I hurt my knee and my ankle, I almost felt offended. I don't want them to see this and think wrong of me. I talk to Mike all the time, but I was pissed. Like, I earned that spot. I hit that total. The spot wasn't given to me. Like, I put myself on that team. I did everything I needed to do, and they know that, I was hurt, and they still made me do that. So right now, I'm just fighting for my Pan Am spot. I want that team so bad. This is my first international team for USA, other than like that Grand Prix that I did in Peru.
Mm-hmm.
And then really, I honestly think that us pushing hard for 2021 is a long shot. I think making the Olympics 2021 is a long shot, but I think if I push as hard as I can to make that team, it's going to set me up really well going into the next quad for 2024. Whereas if this didn't happen, I still might have been, lackadaisical in my squat training and not really pushing super hard, because it is so far down the line. It's hard to think 4 years in advance, especially when you take training day by day. But I actually really think pushing hard for 2021 is going to really help me in 2024. And, it doesn't push anything back in my life currently. I work full time at the gym, 40 hours, but my work is always structured around my training, which is, one of the reasons I love working with Dane and love him as a boss and a coach is he's always put my athletic career before my professional career, because he knows that it's more important to me. like he knows that the reason I quit my job to originally work at Garage Strength was to be a better weightlifter. So, you know, I am the main trainer at Garage Strength now. I do run the sports performance side, but he also knows that I'm here to weightlift, you know. So it doesn't put my life on hold that much, other than maybe 1 year, just because everything got delayed basically a year. But yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get back into it.